Hello, ladies, and welcome to the Tracy Gold Show. And today, our topic for discussion is sexy is a state of mind. And my guest is Heather Fink from The Sexiest Beauty. And she is going to tell you her story of how she started her own beauty brand that is inclusive and is really just pushing the boundaries and redefining of what sexy actually looks like and means for us. So I'm very excited to have her on. I'm just waiting for her to come on. And oh, hey, Christine Marie, it's so good to see you. And thank you. Oh, and Deborah, wonderful to see you. Deborah is going to be our guest tomorrow, Deborah Rappaport, and we're going to be speaking about all sorts of fun things. So, including how style can be really helpful and healing and as she calls it, frugility. Deborah, always have a hard time with that word. Fragility is fun. So Deborah and I are going to be doing that. So I'm just waiting for our guest to come on. I just hope she's gonna Heather Fink, come on girl, come on, get on into here. So ladies, I'm just very grateful to you to coming to the show, and I hope that you are enjoying the lineup. Yes, last week we had the most incredible response for our first week. We had over 700 women watching live, and we had another 430 women watching in the replays, which was just phenomenal. So I'm really excited about that. Hello, BTGH. So good to see you. Hello, lovely to see all of you wonderful people. So yeah, this has never happened before. Normally, I mean, she's normally so on it. The Sexiest Beauty. Yay! Here she is, Heather. So just click the request to join. Yes, there we go. View request. Okay, go live. And don't we just love this amazing, okay, technology. All right, Heather, I'm not sure, did that not work? So you just press the request button again. Okay, I'm just going to send you a request maybe. There we go. The Sexiest Beauty, hold on. Don't we just love this? Okay, send request. I'm sending you a request, Heather. Okay, you declined it. You have to accept it, girl. The Sexiest Beauty, hold on. I'm doing it again. Okay, send request. So just accept the request. I know sometimes our fingers are just very, okay, here we go. I'm sending it. Don't we just love technology? Deborah says incredible. Wow. Okay. I don't understand why we're having difficulty with this. Hold on. Okay, Heather, can you just click the request and just, because I'm sending you a request, or can you send me a request? It just keeps on saying you've declined. So I'm not quite sure how that's happening. Maybe go out and come back on, and then it will give you a request. Try that. Okay, here we go. Let's see. There we go. And view request. Yay! Go live. Yes! Heather is coming on live. Fantastic. Okay, and wait until we can see Heather. The joys of technology. Hey, we've got BTGH coming from Iran. That's amazing. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, Heather, are you still struggling to get on? This is weird. I've never had a problem like this before. Okay, hold on. But you know what? This is the joys of modern technology. Okay, so Heather, it just keeps on saying that you are declining the request. So you have to just, I'm sorry. Yay! Don't we just love technology, Heather?
It was like spinning and spinning. I just connected to my Wi-Fi. Just maybe that was it.
Okay, that's probably what it was. Heather, welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here, and you're looking gorgeous as ever. And of course, I love your red background, my favorite color.
Oh, thank you. You look beautiful too, as
Thank you.
always.
And I'm wearing my favorite
Mhm.
lipstick, which we'll be talking about. In fact, it is now my signature color. I hope you've noticed.
Absolutely. I
I have
always
been wearing
notice.
it. I've been wearing it every single time. So, Heather, welcome. And I'd love to hear, I just find your story so inspirational because, you came from a background of having developed other companies' products. I mean, big names, right? I mean, Mac and a whole, I mean, just you can just go on for hours about listing all that you've done. And then you branched off and started your own beauty brand. So how did that work? How did that come about?
Well, you're right. I was really fortunate and so blessed to work for so many wonderful brands, and that really gave me a foundation
Mm,
of understanding, the market, I would say, as much as it's evolving, you know,
mm, mm,
daily. I was just thinking earlier, and as we've all been thinking, as we are coming through the pandemic and the changes, that the massive impact of change that it's had on our lives,
mm.
and how we come through that. I mean, having a background in beauty is almost irrelevant because it's so every day is so new and different. But I guess it's given me that foundation of knowing the basics, I would say. And I really have to pay attention and listen to what's happening, and how people are feeling today and what their needs are.
Yeah. And so, Heather, what made you decide to start out on your own as opposed to just continuing to work with big beauty brands like you had been done, like you've done for 30 years, right?
Yeah. Well, interesting. I did lose my job at the time. It was about five
Okay.
years ago, and the company had a big restructuring, and I found myself without a job. And I tried for a while to find another job in corporate, and
Mm,
it just didn't happen. And I was doing some consulting, and at the time I just really started with what I'm passionate about,
mm,
which is creating products. And I've always loved the branding side of it. And I was lucky enough to work with those brands that were so big and important and established, but really taking the DNA of that brand and creating the products that were worked, for that brand. So I've always loved branding and creating the products that hopefully make a story that's special and different. And
mm.
that's what I started, that's what I hope to do with the sexiest beauty.
Yeah. And so speak to me about how you are redefining what it means to be beautiful and sexy and amazing, because that's what I find so amazing about your story and about what your company stands for.
Oh, thanks, Tracy. I think it is really important to be inclusive, and when we speak about, as you do, and everything that you do, and I've watched some of the interviews you've done this thus far, and I was really so inspired by the one that you did with Dale the other day, and
Mm,
how you can and should and must embrace your own personal beauty and style at every age,
yes.
and that's really what the sexiest beauty is about. And I felt it was really important from the very beginning. And I'm glad that you mentioned it. I feel like such a great topic is that it is all about, um, it is inclusive of everyone. And from the beginning, I set out to be inclusive of all ages, at every age. Um, I feel like the older we get, at least, I feel this way, and I see so many of my friends, and, embracing our own personal beauty and sense of style. And I call it sexy because it is, and Dale was talking about this too, and as you guys were speaking, it's about that confidence,
Yes.
embracing what you own, your own individuality. And
Yeah.
so that's what the sexiest beauty is all about.
Yeah.
And age and body positivity, and all genders and identities, and it's sexy beauty for everyone is the
Yes.
tagline.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that, I think it's time, right, Heather? But what I love is that you were doing this before even, the whole consciousness was growing in America. I mean, I met you before any of that, that had happened. And so what was really your desire? What was it that you saw in the beauty industry that you thought needed to change, even pre-COVID?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you for saying that. There's some brands who were already doing it really well, and then there's some brands that definitely needed to evolve. And I think that has come about in the past few years. And I was glad to be, proud to be at the forefront of that. I have to say, MAC has always been about that, and so I was lucky to have seen that and experienced that, and still to this day, it's such an important part of their foundation. And then there are some others that aren't, and I feel like it's important to be out there and be in front of it, and continue to do that work.
And so how have you experienced with your clients? I mean, you've done some amazing videos of women putting on the lipstick and saying what it means for them to feel sexy. So, and I'm speaking of women not to be exclusive. It's just that this is a lifestyle
Right.
show for women over 40, 50, 60 and beyond, right? So we're speaking mostly to women here. And, if men want to wear makeup, fabulous. Wear it, enjoy it. You know what I mean? But where, how are women feeling with your product? What emotions are coming up for them?
Yeah, another great question. And it was the very first campaign that I did, and many more since then. And it's called Speak Your Sexy. So it's about, and also wanting to be a platform to hear for your voices. We want to hear what you have to say. And we want to hear what you have to say about whatever it is that you're passionate about. And that's some of what has been coming up in these conversations. And some of the questions have been, what makes you feel empowered? What makes you feel beautiful? And people have spoken about so many different things. Hearing a song that reminds them of the time that they spent with their grandfather when they were little, and the specific time of that makes them feel beautiful.
Yes.
And being able to wear whatever they want to wear on the street and not be questioned for their, choices. So it's really about expressing yourself. I think authentically is what sort of the broadest, and memories and things that, feelings. It's about how you feel. And that's another quote that I love of Maya Angelou's, where she says, people will forget what you said and they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I think that's what the Sexy is Beauty, that's what we strive to do, to make you feel something special and to really to feel like yourself, your best self, which is kind of overplayed and oversaid, but it's really what it is all about.
Yeah. Well, I think, Heather, in some ways there is a lot been said about being yourself and being free, but then there is social media. and
Right.
and I think that a lot is being said about being yourself and being free, but are we really? Are we getting into the comparison traps of comparing ourselves to other people? Are we looking at beauty in a one-dimensional way? I mean, one of the things that I've always found, and I'll just speak for myself, like, as with the beauty industry, is that there's for many years been one form of beauty that's been displayed. And it has made me so sad, because I feel like there are so many different types of beauty. Beauty comes in every complexion. It comes in every skin type. It comes in every age. It comes in so many different forms that we're not celebrating. And that I'm starting to see a little bit of that come out now, but it's been a long time coming, right? And I still think that there are many women who feel like they are just not, because they aren't in a box. They're not blonde. They're not within an age. They're not this. They're not that. It's just, it becomes very, very one-dimensional. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I think there are some brands who have done it really well for a while. And then I think there's some that are maybe trying to play catch up now, and I think it's hard to play catch up,
Yeah.
especially for some of the bigger brands to turn something around like that. It's and it may not come across authentically either. So I guess I had the luxury of starting something from scratch. I didn't have
Mm.
to turn anything around, but maybe what I did strive to do was turn around the last 30 years of, some of what is happening out there,
Yeah.
and it has been happening, and I did experience myself as
Yeah.
well. And I think I could even speak for myself and feel that, and you did talk about that too. As I got older, I did start to feel
Mm.
less I don't know, I guess less valued in that regard, as far as not by anyone in particular, but as you talked about social media and
Mm.
what is portrayed out there, I felt like it has been really important to portray beauty at all ages and for all body types, and as we talked about, genders, etc., to portray that
Mm.
authentically. And it is
Mm.
a challenge with social media to put things out there that um, there's been a whole conversation. There's been a few conversations that have been happening lately. One is about eliminating filters from
Yes.
beauty advertising, and another is about minimizing or eliminating, whatever the terminology they're using, retouching of beauty advertising, which I guess is similar, but and then also verbiage and terminology that we use in the beauty industry.
Mm.
And there was a big article the other day that many people were quoted in, and many people, including myself, said the same thing. Many similar things. What I talked about was the term anti-aging.
Yes.
They said, what term would you believe, do you believe we should excise to eliminate from beauty marketing? And even though I've been guilty and used it myself, it's just started to feel a little icky. What's wrong with
Mm.
aging? It beats
Mm.
the alternative, is what I
Yeah. Yeah.
said.
In fact, I
So
spoke
embrace
to,
it.
yeah, in fact, my guest on Tuesday, Deborah Darling, she was saying, her quite a bit younger sister had died suddenly, and she became very aware as she turned 50 that she was
Mm,
privileged to still be alive, and it gave her a whole
yes,
different meaning to living and aging. And I think the same is with COVID. Many of us have lost loved ones and people around us we know that have died, and here we're still standing. So what are we going to do with these leftover years of our lives? What are we going to
right.
do going forward? Heather, I'd love to. I'm going to go into a little bit of a controversial, territory here, but I feel very strongly about this. On the one side, we have the beauty industry that has been filling our minds with things that, anti-aging, you need to look a certain way to be beautiful, you can't, you need to be a certain age, et cetera, et cetera. At the same time, as consumers, we've bought it. And we're buying those magazines and we're buying into that belief system.
Right.
So I think about so many times when, like in my fashion business, when I would, I refused to use models. I always had real, like ordinary, I say ordinary women, but not professional models, model my clothing. But then there was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but I can't relate to myself because I don't look like her, or I don't look, it was so interesting. Yet they would respond so much better to images of women modeling clothes that they wanted to look like. So
Mm-hmm.
where do we come in as consumers? Because I think we actually have the power, right? If we start to value ourselves and say, we are not putting up with that verbiage anymore. We are not putting up with this thing that you're going to try and shove down our throats and make us feel inferior in order to buy your product. Where does the responsibility as a consumer end and start, and where does it with the fashion, with the beauty brand end and start?
Yeah, I think we have to meet somewhere in the middle. It's a really great question. It is a really, I don't want to say it's a controversial topic, but it is a tricky topic, you know, and it is, and maybe there needs to be more activism on the consumer side, you know, as there is with any sort of change. But I do see it happening. I do see people pushing back on the beauty industry, and I see that in the way that they are embracing, you know, indie brands and brands who are trying to do things differently, and who have a point of view and maybe a mission that they feel they can align with and relate to. And I think that's one thing that I have to be careful of with, you know, 30 years in beauty, some of the things that have been ingrained in my head and verbiage that, you know, I was using the term anti-aging. And it just started to, you know, to feel icky, and to feel like it needed to change, you know, and there's some other things that came out of that conversation that I'm also going to look at myself, you know, and how I speak about certain things. There's a lot of, we're being called out. We're being called out as an industry. And I think it's really important. I think it can be taken, you know, there's times when people have said things that I've said, oh, really? That's how you know, you look at it? And, you know, maybe that's my first response, but then it really does start it starts to, you know, run around in my head a little bit like, wow, that really is something that I need to look at. And so I think it is important for the customer, the consumer to speak, you know, speak with your pocketbook, speak with your words, go on social media, and you know, it doesn't have to be something, you know, said of, you know, with a certain tone. It can just be, you know, maybe you want to look at using the word anti-aging. You know, there is an inverse of that. We do want to age and age. We do want to look and feel our best at every age. So
yes.
So I think we do need to get that out.
I've heard the term pro-aging, and I'm finding that really beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's you know, really acknowledging that we are aging and we can enjoy that process and allow it to be what it is for what it is, right? So, and I see also, Heather, I mean, I live a plant-based lifestyle, I'm vegan, and I want to support beauty brands and makeup brands and that kind of thing that are creating vegan products. And I've seen the massive growth in that. I mean, just, you know, when I first started out, how few brands there were that were doing that, even from an anti-cruelty perspective, right? So there were so many brands that I was even using that I was unaware of, that if they're exporting to China, it means that they're having them tested on animals. And when I started going, wait a minute, I actually don't want to support that, I started seeing massive growth in that industry, and the whole thing of anti-cruelty and the whole thing of, you know, vegan products and vegan makeup, and, you know, which of course some of your formulas are also vegan. So I think we do have to vote with our dollars, and maybe also to decide to support the brands that are standing for beauty being more inclusive. You know, look out for those indie brands that are doing amazing things, that are setting the kind of, you know, dropping the crumbs for some of the bigger brands to start picking up on, right? Because if we as consumers start to demand it, they will do it. Because they want to go where the money is.
That's for sure.
Let's talk about your brand. And I know when I first met you, you were doing lipsticks mostly, and then you started your own skincare brand. But let's talk about your lipsticks. And in fact, I have some of them right here. So
perfect.
2 different formulas. And what I love, what is just so amazing to me, Heather, and why I was drawn to your brand, is because you have the perfect nude for every skin tone. So you have a light, medium, and dark. And then you have the most divine color reds, like incredible reds, as in every woman can wear red. You just have to find your right shade, right? So speak to us about your line of makeup and what makes them so special.
That's right. Well, thank you for asking about them. And I love that you carry them on your website as well. Yes. And those colors that you're showing there that can be purchased on Tracy Gold. .com. So yeah, and I love the colors that you curated, the beautiful, the perfect nudes, and we do have nudes for all skin tones that range up until the darker nudes. We have a nude red. We have a color there, the coral that you have. I know that's your beautiful go-to color.
It is indeed.
Yeah, so we have the two formulas, the one that is in your hand there, and I believe that is Catwalk Coral. That is probably your signature color, right? I call that the Zoom Ready formula today, but it's about a swipe. It's called Matte Shine, the formula itself, because it has the pigments of a matte with that beautiful velvety one swipe lay down, and the emollients and the dollop of shine that give it that beautiful gloss. So it's not a dull, flat matte. Beautiful.
And I have to say, Heather, it's very, I mean, there was a brand, I won't say, you know, what they were, but I was using their vegan lipstick, and it was making my lips very dry and kind of making it like, you know, I was getting a bit of peeling coming on, and I didn't enjoy that. And this, I don't get any of that. I find the moisture in your product, and this is where your experience comes in, right? Because, you know, when you were saying like, oh, well, you know, I've had all this experience, and you're kind of almost underplaying it in a way. I'm like, I don't think so, because I've worked with some beauty brands. I've worked with some very top beauty brands, and your formulas are amazing. They really are, and it speaks of your experience, you know. So
thank you very much. And the labs that I work with, that I partner with, that formula there is a revolutionary technology. It is very unlike and very different anything else on the market. And it is due to the technology of the pigments that are so refined, and the emollients that you're experiencing with that moisture. It's called the triple S complex. Yes. It's squalane, sunflower seed oil, and sodium hyaluronate, which is hyaluronic acid, and just pulls that moisture out of the air. It's a humectant that seals it right to your lip. So you've got the built-in moisture, the built-in color, and it's also a very long-wearing formula.
It really is. I have to tell you, and in fact, if you purchase the lipstick, I recommend that you get the removal. The other day I had to change lipstick, and I was like, well, I'll come my quick removal pads, because this lasts for a long time. Now let's talk about these ones, because these are actually mask proof, which is hugely helpful.
That's right. Isn't that amazing that I had this formula? It's called S-proof because it's smooch-proof, smudge-proof, smear-proof. I even threw in sex-proof because, you know, you never know when you need a good long-wearing lipstick. And I just thought it was cheeky, you know, have a little fun with it. But then here came the whole need for wearing a face mask.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect lipstick for applying under your face mask. You want to have a little something, at least I do when I go out. I want to have a little something on under my face mask. You know, I might get to the restaurant and take it off to eat, or whatever the case may be, get in my car, and I want to have a little color. I still want to feel fabulous. So that formula, it does not transfer. It's transfer proof.
And you know what I love about this as well is that it is so long lasting, and even through like drinking tea and that kind of thing, because I do a lot of lives one after one another, and so I often use this because it's so long lasting. And I quite like, Heather, even if I'm wearing a mask, to have some lipstick on underneath.
Yeah, I know.
I just feel like it makes me feel better. So these are really awesome. So, you know, we're doing a giveaway, by the way. So we're doing a giveaway you can go onto tracygoldshow.com, and don't Google it, because you'll find Tracy Gold from Growing Pains. Wrong, Tracy. I am old enough to know who she was, and I'm not anorexic, and I wasn't caught drunk and driving. And I wasn't the cute kid in the show either. So So yeah, but you can go to tracygoldshow.com. It's TRACY shows and show.com. The link is in my bio, and there'll be a pop-up within the first 5 seconds. And if you subscribe to the newsletter, your name will go in for the giveaway. And then you are going to be able to choose. This is the cool thing. We're not just going to send you something. You're going to be able to choose your perfect nude and or your perfect red, and which formula you want, which is fabulous, right? So
that is fabulous. That's
yeah.
awesome, Tracy.
Yeah.
So
and you can also find, so I've put links. I mean, you can follow, definitely follow Heather. She's doing some amazing work. Her entire product range is on her site. And then Tracy Gold Fashion Tips, I have some of her lipsticks, her nudes, and that kind of thing. So you're more than welcome to go and check that out too. So yeah, so Heather, what would you say in closing thoughts to encourage, and I say women again because we are mostly speaking to women, to encourage women to have that sexy state of mind?
Well, I think it is about deciding what you're passionate about and then pursuing that. And I think it's also important, and this is something that I baked into my brand because I needed it for myself, is about self-care. When I do things where I'm taking care of myself, which I didn't normally used to do and paid the price for it, and still have to force myself to do that pretty much on a daily basis, remind myself, it's about taking care of yourself. So those are my tips. Do something for yourself every day, something that, falls under the whole self-care. And that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people too. For me, maybe it's getting my blowout, or getting my nails done, or going for a walk is another really important thing, because then I feel so much better than if I'm just sitting around on my sofa or my chair all day, And then maybe it's a beauty thing. I love throwing on a lipstick. Some people it might be mascara or nail polish, or you have such beautiful hair. Maybe it's a beautiful hair mask, or so do something that feels great for yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think that's really great. Heather, it's been amazing to have you as a guest. Once again, I'm just going to tell all of you who might have missed, that there is a giveaway. We're going to be doing it for a couple of days because I know many of you will only see this in the replay. So feel free to go to tracygoldshow.com. There'll be a pop-up within the first few seconds. Just put your details in there to subscribe, and that will go into the draw. And then I will put Heather in touch with you, and you can make your choice of either your perfect nude or your perfect red, and which formula you want, because she's got 2 fabulous formulas. And I highly, highly recommend her lipsticks. I must say, I'm ruined for every other brand, Heather. Your lipsticks are just like, the other day, and I was looking at lipstick, and I'm like, oh, I don't need any of those. I have Heather's ones.
Thanks,
I'm
Tracy.
really
I'm
ready
here
for
for
that.
you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much to all those ladies who have joined, and those ladies in the replay. If you have any questions, feel free to put in the comments, and either Heather or I will actually respond to you, every single one of them. So unless they're rude. We don't do rude comments. We don't reply to anything rude. So Heather, thank you for being a most amazing guest. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Till tomorrow, 1 p.m. Join us then. Take care. Bye.
Bye.